Hello Dollar General friends. In this video, I'm going to show you some footage of all the places where I found 90% off in penny items this week at Dollar General. I did go into 9 different Dollar General stores on Tuesday to look for stuff. I haven't been going into Dollar General in a while. It's been a few weeks since I've shopped, so it was kind of fun getting back out and going in places again to try to hunt for some really great deals. And I did do pretty well overall. I think I got like 70 something penny items, mostly dishes, but you'll see in the footage I did find one store that had a ton of the soap, which was pretty exciting. This was the first store that I went in, and this was the NCI aisle, and as you can see, it's pretty crowded over there at this store. And I found some of these small round baking dishes. They're really almost the size of a small plate, which makes it kind of confusing. Sometimes when you see pictures of stuff, it's hard to tell what size it is, and since it's a pan, you kind of expect it to be bigger. But they're almost plate sized if you're looking for those, and they do come in 3 different colors: the white, the gray, and the pink. This display of the Peace, Love, and Vibes items I wanted to show because this stuff has the blue dot on it, but it is not following this year's blue dot price. They were from last year, but I've seen these in a lot of stores this year. But even though these have a blue dot, since they're not from this year, they're not following the price point of the blue dot stuff this year. They're not dropping in price. They're still ringing up full price. And I wanted to make sure I warned you about that. And then I had to just show that full aisle. Did you see how messy it was? It was a total disaster. Tons of stuff on the floor. This store is usually more clean than that, so I was pretty surprised that it was a bit of a disaster. And then this store, they keep their accessories up front near the register, so I kind of wanted to show that in case that's a place you haven't thought of to look. Some Dollar Generals, they use this kind of space up at the front to kind of display different things that don't have a normal spot in the store. So that's where you can find some of the accessories if you're looking for those. I did score quite a bit of 90% off Blue Dot stuff. I didn't grab everything I found because I didn't need it all, but I did get some stuff that'll make good stocking stuffers at Christmas. And then some of the reusable bags I plan on using as gift bags. I like using reusable bags that you can get real cheap instead of getting a paper gift bag that you're just going to throw away. This was the second store I went in, and they made it real easy on everybody. They had all their stuff that was 90% off moved up to an end cap at the front of the store. You're going to notice in almost every store I checked the house shoes, and I could never find any that fit me. Everywhere I went I could only find smalls, and I was hoping to find some large ones, but oh well, you win some, you lose some. I did grab a few of these 90% off novelty lights to use for Christmas gifts, but I left a ton behind. And then they had some of the jogging pants and sweatshirts. I didn't find a lot of those that I wanted. I found a ton last year at a penny, so at 90% off, I was only willing to buy the stuff I really wanted or needed. And then I went over to the NCI aisle, and I scored pretty good at this store. I found that one tray. I really liked that. I found more of the small baking dishes, and then there's also one that's kind of shaped almost like a skillet. Same idea. It's a small baking dish. I don't know what you would bake on it per se, but you know what? If it's a penny, I'm buying it and I'm taking it home. If I don't know use for it, I'm just going to donate it because I don't really want it. I don't really need dishes, but for a penny, I was of course willing to grab all of these. I do want to say, if you're wanting the barcodes or the UPC numbers off of these dishes that are a penny, I did put out a video on Tuesday when I got home from shopping that shows all the surprise NCI penny items that I found with the barcodes, because I know a lot of people like to see the UPC numbers and save them in their phone or something so that they can look when they're in the store in case you can't get your scanner to work. So I did make a video showing all of that. If you want to see those numbers, make sure you watch that video. This was the third store that I went in, and I only found a couple of penny items over on the NCI aisle of this store, But this store, I did better at the 90% off stuff. I got more of those big stainless steel handle trays. I think those are really nice. They're super heavy if you find them. I would suggest if you see anything older in a box on the NCIL, make sure you scan it. I've seen a lot of people finding other stuff in boxes that's a penny, but I didn't find any of that at my store. But I did go over to their seasonal aisle, and next to the summer stuff, they still had a lot of the winter clothing, which of course is ringing up 90% off this week. It will be going to a penny next week. I'm going to make a clearance update video soon, but I wanted to share the shopping footage first in case it gives you some ideas of places to look for these items. And I know a lot of people like to shop on Saturdays, so if you're going to use your $5 off $25 coupon this Saturday, you might want to check for this stuff in the kind of places where you see I'm finding it. This was one of my favorite finds of the day on the regular clothing aisle up at the top shelf. I saw a whole display of gray dot Alabama hoodies, and I pulled them down so I could check, and they were ringing up 90% off. So I did buy all of those, and it was pretty funny. When I got to the register, the cashier asked me if I have a bunch of family in Alabama because I live in Tennessee, but I'm close to Alabama, so I shop in both states. And since I was buying all the Alabama hoodies, he was like, "Oh, do you have family there?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not. These are just $3 hoodies, so why would I not buy them?" It was pretty random. It was kind of funny. And then they had a table up front with the stuff that they knew was 90% off. So I'm wondering if I go back to this store next Tuesday, will all the other random stuff still be in the regular spots so I can score on penny items? I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to go back to this store this upcoming Tuesday and see if I can score, especially since they had that whole display of the Sherpa women's and girls hoodies at the front, the pullovers that are real fuzzy, the pink and white and gray ones. They had a full display of those. So if I could go back and score that for a penny, that would be some great items to donate. So I might have to go back in there. This store was actually a Dollar General Market, and I only ended up finding one penny item over there. This one butter dish just looked out of place, and it just so happens that it's a penny. It's got flowers on it. It's actually a Martha Stewart branded butter dish, which I found pretty random. I didn't find any more penny items in the store, but I did get lucky with the lighters. This Hot Shot that's solid red is full price. But this other Hot Shot with the yellow in the background, it's kind of got leaves behind the lighter on the packaging. Those are following fall hardware, so they're currently 90% off. They're 35 cents a piece, and I found a full case on the top shelf. That was a great find. If you've seen some of my other clearance and penny shopping videos, you'll know one of my favorite things to buy is candles. So of course, I always get excited when I find a really great deal on lighters, because with the amount of candles I like to buy, it's always a good idea to buy lighters when you find them at a good price. This store ended up having a full giant flower pot full of random lighters all rubber banded together at the front of their seasonal aisle. So I dug through it and found me some more 90% off lighters. And this is the store that made me super excited when I went over to the NCI aisle, which this is a random spot for this to be. But this is where I found the penny soap and lotion and body spray. I guess they just had nowhere to put it in their store, so they stuck it over there with the candles and other smell good stuff. I guess that's their reasoning. But I got a really good haul of that stuff there, which was great. I did find one other lady there who was hunting for penny items, and I tried to share with her, but she only wanted the shampoo and conditioner, which I did not end up finding any of that in any of the 9 stores that I went into on Tuesday. I offered her some of the dishes that I found in there too, because I did find more butter dishes and lots of these little kind of cream pitchers, but she didn't want any of that. She was just looking for a specific thing. She only wanted shampoo and conditioner, so I didn't get to share, but I tried. And since I found some of the soaps and stuff in the store, I decided to go over to the clearance section and see if I could get lucky and find anything mixed in over there. And I actually did end up finding a few more things of body wash. That's a good place to check since these soaps and things aren't something these stores normally carry. A lot of stores will have just thrown them in clearance sections or put them on end caps. So make sure you check there while you're hunting for these penny items. And one of the last places I want to suggest you look for the 90% off hardware stuff is the regular hardware aisle. If you go over there, sometimes you can find the clearance extension cords and zip ties and things like that mixed in on the regular shelf. I did find one cord, and then I spotted some of the window insulating kits that are part of the fall hardware or winter hardware. They were up on the top shelf over there near the hardware, so I pulled those down and they ended up being 60 cents a box, so I did grab those. That's a good place to check if you're trying to find some of the hardware stuff. Let me know in the comments, guys. Did you have fun shopping this week? Did you end up with a good 90% off in Penny Haul? I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, bye!